with the highlights.
We need other arms of government to respect the Senate.
Under this constitution, Parliament is a bicameral one.
Blow to court as Senate Speaker dismisses debate on new security laws. And the Supreme Court now suspends the digital TV migration. Kingongo celebrates as death row inmate scores high marks in KCPE.
Tulikaa chini, tukimgoja rudi. Mpaka tena mtoto akaanza kutapika ndio nikatoka hospitali kumtafutia maji.
And anguish for family in Tarbo as the breadwinner disappears without a trace. Good evening. Our sign language interpreter is Marisha Owiti. Well, it was a big blow for CORD as Senate Speaker Ekwe Thuro ruled that the Senate cannot discuss the Security Laws Amendment Act in a special session of the Senate. Thuro said the matter is currently before court. Aaron Ching has more.
The Coalition for Reforms and Democracy CORD has been dealt yet another blow in its quest to reverse the recently enacted Security Amendment Act of 2014. Senate Speaker Ekwe Thuro unprecedentedly ruled that the debate on the laws that were already debated and passed acrimoniously by the lower house on the 18th day of this month cannot proceed on the floor of the Senate.
Let's give the courts the opportunity to conclude the matter. This matter can still be revisited. We can still bring amendments as House. We are the law-making body. We can still bring the necessary amendments to the law, which will prosecute on this floor. That one I will allow.
The ruling was arrived at after the Speaker allowed most of the senators from both Jubilee and CORD to deliberate on the legality of proceeding with the motion, with the matter already before the High Court.
The Speaker, this was a matter that was...
The mover of the motion, Senate Minority Leader Moses Wetangula, dismissed the ruling, accusing the Speaker of conspiring with the government side.
He has to demonstrate, Mr. Speaker, that debating the matter here will affect the proceedings in the court, and that it will influence the proceedings in the court, and that in effect, which will amount to casting aspersions against the judge, that the judge who is hearing the case is likely to be influenced by what distinguished senators will say here. Then that judge should be removed from the bench, Mr. Speaker.
In a special sitting Tuesday, the court team expected to push for resolutions to negate the laws already in operation.
Under this constitution, Parliament is a bicameral one. And therefore, if only the National Assembly has spoken, Mr. Speaker, it doesn't mean Parliament has spoken.
This House does not have powers to render or to declare any law unconstitutional, Mr. Speaker.
CORD has challenged the laws in court, seeking their suspension. CORD argues that the process lacked public participation and input of the Senate as required by law.
The rule of sub judice is not a constitutional rule. It's not in any law other than the standing order.
Let the court finish with it. Then after that, we can look at it. Let us, in the same spirit, deal with this matter because our friends in Conde have already gone to court.
The ruling by the Senate now means that CORD's resolve to block the enactment of the new security laws now lies entirely on the decision of the courts of law. Aaron Ocheng, KTN.
Well, those developments from the Senate bring us to our big question tonight, and we're asking, do you support CORD in their quest for the reversal of the new security laws? Do you support CORD in the quest for the reversal of the new security laws? That's our big question tonight. The number is 22155. You can also tweet me at Betty Callo or with the hashtag KTN Prime, and we'll be getting your responses as we move along. To matters education, and the Teachers Service Commission is inviting teachers' unions for a consultative meeting in a bid to avert a looming teachers' strike. The nationwide strike has been called by the unions over salaries and allowances when schools reopen next week. KTN's Patrick Amimo with the details.
There will be no teacher in any classroom all over the Republic of Kenya, from primary schools, secondary schools, and tertiary institutions.
Solidarity forever.
It is 3 days after the Kenya National Union of Teachers issued a 7-day strike notice to the government to find a solution to teachers' demands for review of their salaries and allowances or face a countrywide strike. The Teachers Service Commission has now invited officials of the teachers' unions to a seemingly last-minute crisis meeting. According to the Consultative Committee on Terms and Conditions of Teachers employed by TSC, the Saturday meeting will have 2 agendas. The first agenda will be to confirm minutes of the meeting held last month. The second agenda is for the government to table a counter-offer to the unions. KNUT first demanded a 300% salary hike for its members, which it later reduced to 150%. KNUT Secretary General Wilson Sosion says the union has held 26 meetings with TSC from mid-last year, but the employer has not shown any commitment to the talks. While releasing KCPE results Monday, Education Cabinet Secretary appealed for more dialogue.
We should allow dialogue between the unions and the legally established institutions mandated to handle the issue of remuneration of teachers.
Last month, the Standard newspaper exclusively reported that TSC was willing to offer teachers a pay hike of between 50 and 60%. However, an advisory from the Salaries and Remunerations Commission said the country's economy cannot sustain it. The SAREM-led commission freezed any salary increment for public servants until a job evaluation exercise is concluded and government payroll cleaned off ghost workers. KNUT has accused SRC of being a stumbling block to the negotiations.
Walimu wana uwezo wa kikatiba ya kukabiliana na mwajiri wao. Lakini Sara Serem anapita hapo karibu hapo akituziba ili tusiweze kuzungumza na mwajiri wetu, na tunamwambia kaa kando.
We cannot talk about scrapping SRC simply because maybe they are not telling us the things we want to hear. They are doing their job, please.
The Kenya Union of Post-Primary Education Teachers, KUPPET, has also warned of industrial action over salary talks, but is yet to issue any strike notice. Patrick Amimo, KTN.
The date is finally set for the Kajiado Central by-election, which will be held on March 16th, 2015. The Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission announced this today. Well, the seat fell vacant after Joseph Nkaiseri, the immediate former Member of Parliament, was appointed Cabinet Secretary for Interior and Coordination of National Government. Nkaiseri was nominated for the position by President Uhuru Kenyatta following the sacking of his predecessor, Joseph Olelenku. The IEBC now wants those wishing to vie as independent candidates to submit their symbols and seek clearance from the Registrar of Political Parties on or before January 26, 2015. It has also directed all political parties wishing to participate in the by-election to complete their nominations of their candidates on or before January 29th. At least 3 people have already expressed interest in succeeding Kaiseri come March next year. It is an end-of-year's reprieve for embattled Mombasa Republican Council leader Omar Monmwadzi Hamisi. This is after a Mombasa court awarded him a bond, with his case now adjourned for hearing to the 27th of January next year. KTN's Francis Ontomo reports.
His ties with outlawed Mombasa Republican Council has made him almost a permanent friend of the dock. Omar Monmwadzi Hamisi is a man that trouble has kept stalking ever since police linked him with nasty activities of the outlawed group at the coast of Kenya. And today it was a date with justice for Monmwadzi, together with alleged 7 other accomplices, who included his wife. They, however, denied charges of being members of the group. The prosecution's prayers to have the accused denied bond was turned down by High Court Judge Stephen Riech, who argued that Monmwadzi and team's commitment to court summons in the past was enough proof that they will heed the court's call. They were released on a 500,000 shillings bond. Monmwadzi and the 7 were put to task to explain their association with an alleged secret meeting held on the 29th of December at Hombani area in Matuga, believed to have centered around the MRC affairs.
It
It was a busy day here at the Mombasa Law Courts, and indeed a huge reprieve for MRC leader Omar Momnwazi, whose case has now been pushed to the 27th of January. Francis Ontomwa, KTN, Mombasa.
A death row inmate at the Kingongo Maximum Prison is celebrating his success in the recently released KCPE results. 30-year-old Abraham Mubie garnered 386 marks. Carol Derry was at the Kingongo prison and now brings us the story of the moment of glory for this murder convict.
It was an unusual day at the Kingongo Maximum Prison. What broke the usual drill and monotone of prison life was the cheer and song that celebrated the KCPE score of 30-year-old Abraham Githeki Mufea. Garnering 386 marks in prison is no easy feat for prisoners who often have to make do with limited resources and an acute shortage of teachers, prompting other inmates to teach fellow prisoners. Githeki takes us to his old classroom and shares with us his revision notes. He tells me his favorite subject is English. Githeki has been sickly and has had to skip lessons several times, but his score of 386 has rekindled his hope of being a lawyer someday. Never mind that he is a capital remandee who was charged with murder.
I want to become a lawyer if everything goes well.
22 prisoners sat the KCPE exam last year here at Kingongo Prison. This is their new library that also served as their examination center. They say they could use more books as these are donations and are hardly enough for the large prison population. They do not have laboratories and rely on neighboring schools' goodwill to assist them with laboratory equipment during examinations.
Kwa secondary school, hakuna laboratory. Kama mtu anataka kufanya agriculture hapa, there's no land.
Starting to have a teaching, a progress in jail. It's one thing to avoid idleness in jail.
Patrick Nyaga is in Form 3. He topped Naivasha Prison in 2011's KCPE results when he garnered 376 marks. Now in Form 3 at Kingongo and having been appointed as a trustee prisoner due to his good conduct in prison so far, he says nothing will come in his way of actualizing his dream of being a lawyer. He had been sentenced to death due to robbery with violence, but is now serving a life sentence.
If I progress well, then if I become a lawyer, I will be able to teach others that the crime does not pay.
Music booms from a separate room, leaving us to wonder if such high-powered entertainment is part of the prison itinerary. This is a prison dance troupe that is accorded the space and radio to practice their dance moves. It takes away the prison life stress, they say.
Tukipata chance, tunakuja tunafanya mazoezi, hiyo mambo yote tunasahau. Yeah, na stress.
The prison authorities and the teachers say it takes sheer hard work and resilience to ensure that the education department in prison is up and running.
Trying to demystify the notion that an inmate is somebody who has no self-esteem.
Teaching resources ambazo kwa hakika katika mazingira ya gerezani huwa ni ngumu sana kupatikana.
Moyo huwa mwema. Na hakuna asiyeweza kubadilika.
He said that hope sustains mankind. They have an optimism of reacceptance in society having changed and given another chance of reliving their dreams. Carol Derry, KTN, Kingongo Prison.
Unusual celebrations. Now, it did not matter that Siaya's Russell Otieno Omondi received his results a day after they were announced. What mattered is that he scored an impressive 440 marks. And now, Russell, his parents, and his former teachers are wondering if he is indeed Siaya's top student. Victor Ogala reports.
Awelo Primary School Tuesday morning was a beehive of activity as residents of Siaya County thronged the institution following the news that one of their own, Russell Otieno Omondi, had joined the most sought-after list of Kenya's KCPE top performers with 440 marks. From border operators to his fellow pupils of Awelo Primary School and teachers, Russell Otieno was celebrated like a king who had emerged victorious in a battle.
In fact, after I had sent the first one and the message was replied, I sent it again because I could not believe it.
I never knew he could perform this well. I never knew
that he could fight with the giants who pay a lot of money in school. And some have never even achieved this.
This is the exact spot where Russell sat his KCPE exams. The 14-year-old is an ardent support of Manchester United, wants to become a neurosurgeon in future.
The boy has put the school in the map because when you look at this, the pupils that are there in the top scorers, you'll find that most of them are coming from academy. But this is a boy that has come from a rural school.
Nothing is impossible. With God, everything is possible. And through hard work, you can achieve all the goals you want.
The jubilation may have attracted many, with the Otieno family earning instant fame in Siaya town. But this humble place overboard is where Russell and his 5 siblings reside. His father, Silas Otieno, is unemployed and does odd jobs in Nairobi in order to support his family. According to Silas, his celebrations may be short-lived, considering school fees is awaiting him next year.
Hajasoma shule moja mpaka amefika 8. Amebadilisha mashule kwa sababu ya pesa. Na hata nilikuwa nafikiria kwa moyo yangu, huyu mtoto ametia bidii, hata faulu kweli kulingana vile ameshabadilisha mashule. Na nimemrudishia shukrani. Kulingana na pesa, hakuangalia pesa. Na ameangalia shule. Alikuwa anasoma hata kuagiza. Na lilia tu kama unaweza pata ile taa kadogo ile ya kurecharge.
The Siaya Governor Colonel Asanga was part of the celebration and has already promised to foot a portion of his school fees.
We shall also try as much as we can with the little resources that we have to try with our bursary to help the young man.
At the Corando Learning Center in Otonglo, which is an informal school, their top candidate Stephen Hayo Ching had scored 423 marks. This was the first time the institution was doing the KCPE exams. Of all the celebrations witnessed here in Nyanza, that of Russell Otieno here at Awelo Primary School can be matched to no other, as the lad managed an impressive 440 marks in this year's KCPE exam. And with it came his moment of fame. Victor Ogale, KTN, in the county of Siaya.
A big congratulations there to Russell and all the other candidates who scored the marks that they wanted to score. Well, we take a short commercial break, but let's have a reminder of our big question tonight. And we're asking you, do you support CORD in their quest for the reversal of the new security laws? Do you support CORD in their quest for the reversal of the new security laws? The number is 22155, and you can also tweet me. Let me sample 1 or 2 tweets that I've just gotten from my handle. Abdiraham Hassan says, yes, CORD deserves the chance to review the amendment. Indeed, they amplify the cries of our people. That is a yes there. Someone called Ryan Musili says, no, I don't support them at all. Why are they scared of the new security laws? Well, we'll keep on sampling more views as we move along. But let's now take that break. Don't go away. More interesting stories coming right up.
2029, 3058. That's okay.
Dubbed the memory card boy, Marquet's boy with a photographic memory.
You're watching KTN Prime.
Welcome back. He has a sharp memory for the numbers. No wonder then that in his Kyobil village in Marquet East, Samuel Yatich has earned the nickname Memory Card. You don't want to miss this young man's story as told by KTN's Masikandie.
August, Friday, ni siku gani?
Tarehe 2 itakuwa Friday, August 2013.
In the same village that is home to the Marquet calendar boy,
2020 December itakuwa Tuesday.
2052.
2052 December itakuwa Sunday.
2038.
2038 December itakuwa Wednesday.
3032.
Tarehe 1 December itakuwa Friday.
The boy who had memorized the entire calendar from its inception to infinity.
Sawa. 0899 48 49 48 49 89 30 9708. That's okay.
Kobil village is also home to the Marquet memory card boy. Samuel Yatich left school in 1996. Then, because of his epileptic condition, his favorite subject was Kiswahili. because back then, whoever could read the writings on the milk packet would get 2 packets of the government's milk, maziwa ya Nyayo. This he remembers to date.
School milk. Masiwa yanatolewa bure na serikali yetu kwa watoto wote wa shule za msingi chini. Kenya kufuatana na uamuzi wa busara wa rais wa Jamhuri ya Kenya. Mtukufu Rais Daniel Arap Moi aliyepia amri jeshi mkuu. Milk is provided free for all primary school children in Kenya. By our government following the inductive and directive of His Excellency Daniel Arap Moi, President and Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of the Republic of Kenya.
While at home, Yatich trained himself to memorize numbers, his fascination starting with the airtime scratch cards.
Mina kumbuka bamba. Nikiona hata ya mtu kwa hapo nachukua.
Unaingisha ya mtu na yeye ajeka.
Hata nikiona ya ndugu yangu mina ingiza na mpaka mina kucha pia yeye 20 tu nilichukua hiyo. Wacha.
As the residents relax in the hot Marquet sun, it's not only the basking they enjoy, but the entertainment from Yatich.
68, 57, 64, 12, 20, 29, 30, 58. That's okay.
Ugiscratch card yako anaweza angalia tu safari moja na aende kando ana feed na ukiona kwa message ile ukiendelea kufeed message ile utapata inaandika imetumika.
Yatich, however, is quick to correct this. He says he doesn't steal from anyone.
Mtu akinunua pamba yake ana scratch. Akiona mimi nikipita hapo watu wanaenda pale wanakopa. Mtu anaweka ya puka na kukimbia.
At the local shopping center, he uses his ability to memorize the number plates of motorbikes to help their owners know what route these motorbikes have taken.
Watu tunaanzia ya Marion. KMTT 921 tunaenda ya UT. KMTF 822 KMTE 822F tunaenda ya JT. KMTF 825G tunaenda Yadich.
Sasa tunataka tujue kama ni ukweli Samuel anashika nambari haraka kama akili ama kama ni akili ya kawaida ama yake ni tofauti na ya wengine. Sawa.
As the crowd got bigger, we put Yatich's memorizing ability to task.
Aya. Ya kwanza Samuel amechukua. Wacha tujaribu ya pili. Sawa. Sekunde 10.
Sasa.
Sekunde 10 kila mtu anyamaze aangalie.
Huyo asiwe akicontrol time. Iwe strictly 10 seconds.
Asiseme imetosha.
Yatich says this helps him earn some cash. Tips from his entertained audience. Not enough, but it's better than nothing as he is jobless.
2918 0026 1656 2501.
One day at a time, and the slow days at the village somehow lighten up.
So Samuel, wamekuita memory card boy, memory boy. Umekuwa ukimemorize hii maneno kwa muda ngapi sasa?
Kwa mwaka 8.
Mwaka 8?
Mwaka 8.
Mwaka 8.
Tangu mwaka wa 2007.
Mpaka saizi?
mpaka saizi mwaka wa 2014 tunaelekea mwaka wa 2015. Bado mimi nakumbuka.
Bado unakumbuka?
Bado nakumbuka.
Hata mimi nitajaribu kukumbuka, lakini in the meantime, for you at home, you might call it the skill to memorize, or here in the village they call it a talent. But it's a village that has two tales to tell. The story of the Marquet calendar boy, and now the story of the Marquet memory card boy. Masi Kandiye, KTN, Kobil, Elgeyo Marakwet County.
There must be something about Marquet. The calendar boy, now the memory card boy. I wonder what's next. I think Mohammed Ali should go and investigate what is happening down there. Interesting story there. I think I should also befriend that guy, and I would never run out of credit. Let's move on to some other news. South African gospel sensation Pastor Swali Mahlungu is in town. Well, he arrived in the country this evening ahead of his much-anticipated performance at tomorrow's Groove Award concert. Swali, famous for his Siyabonga and Obrigado hits, will be performing at the Safaricom Stadium, Kasarani, tomorrow evening in a gospel event to usher in the new year. The annual event that attracts gospel artists and enthusiasts will kick off from 4 p.m. and will air live on KTN.
This is Soli Obrigado Matlang, and I'm here in Kenya. And please turn on to KTN TV, because it's going to be happening tomorrow, and we're going to be going all the way through across the night, all the way to the morning, and I'm going to be there. I want to see you there. Jumbo.
You heard him, KTN, 4 p.m. tomorrow. You'll be able to watch that particular concert, or you can head there, Kasarani Stadium. Time for business. The Supreme Court has temporarily suspended the switch to digital broadcast, which was scheduled for tomorrow in Nairobi. Deputy Chief Justice Kalpana Rawal ordered the Communications Authority of Kenya to halt the migration after the Media Owners Association filed a petition against the regulator. KTN's Charles Gitonga has the details.
Nairobi and its environs will still receive analog broadcast signal after tomorrow, following the decision by the Supreme Court to suspend the digital switch until a case is heard on Monday, the 5th of January 2015. This latest ruling by Deputy Chief Justice Kalpana Rawal is informed by a petition filed today by the Media Owners Association, saying that the 31st December 2014 deadline for Nairobi set by the Communications Authority is against the 3-month negotiation period given by the court in its previous ruling, delivered on September 30th. The media owners were seeking more time to set up their own infrastructure. They also wanted to be allowed to continue with the simultaneous transmission of digital and analog signals as they continue to establish this infrastructure. The media owners are seeking the extension of the digital migration deadline to the end of April next year. KTN, NTV, and Citizen also went to court seeking to retain their frequencies until their infrastructure is established, as the frequencies are supposed to revert to the ownership of the Communications Authority upon the digital migration. In the September 30th ruling, the Supreme Court asked the media owners and the Communications Authority to enter into negotiations that would see the regulator grant digital broadcasting licenses to either a consortium of the Standard Group, Royal Media Services, and the Nation Media Group, or any other public broadcaster. The ruling comes at a time when city residents are already in what they believe to be the last-minute rush to acquire set-top boxes. Earlier in the day, business in the CBD was booming as people moved to meet the now obsolete deadline.
I intend to buy one soon, either today or tomorrow, because I understand nowadays things have changed into digital, locally, even internationally.
It also comes as a sigh of relief for many city dwellers who had not acquired the digital signal decoders, and the switch off would have left them in the dark.
Sijanunua hiyo side box kwa sababu nataka serikali tuongezee muda. Ndio niweze kupata pesa ya kununua.
Sijanunua hii mashini, nilikuwa na ngoja sababu alikuwa napelekana kotini. Nilikuwa nataka waguje bei kabisa.
However, the last 3 weeks have been business unusual for dealers in set-top boxes, with some of them tripling their sales in that period.
The uptake has been tremendous. Kenyans are now gearing themselves up for the digital migration, and they are all taking these boxes.
All eyes are now set on the 5th of January 2015, when the Media Owners Association shall appear before a 2-judge bench of the Supreme Court to give more directions on the migration date. Charles Gitonga, KTN.
It will be relief to consumers after inflation eased marginally in December, helped by falling electricity prices to hit 6.02%. Data from the Kenya National Bureau of Statistics shows that the cost of living measures stood at 6.02%, down from 6.09% last month. Well, this is the 4th month in a row that inflation has dropped since it hit a 25-month high of 8.36% in August. Contributing to lower cost of electricity was fuel cost adjustment, which decreased from 3.47 shillings per kilowatt hour in November to 2.87 shillings per kilowatt hour in December 2014. Electricity prices have since September dropped by between 18.7% and 27.4% following the injection of 280 megawatts of geothermal power into the national grid. Food inflation went up by 0.71%, reversing last month's decline, while transportation inflation went up by 0.91% despite drops in petrol and diesel prices. The KNBS attributed the rise in transport costs to higher fares by matatus, buses and taxis, cashing in on passengers traveling up country for the festive season. Nixon Sigei today assumed his new role as the managing director of the new Kenya Cooperatives Creameries at a handover ceremony held at the company's Nairobi-based office. Sigei takes over from Dr. Kipkiri Langat, who retired as the MD after his term expired. Sigei brings to the company a wealth of knowledge after having served for over 10 years as a livestock development officer in various government and private sector companies. The transition in management will be keenly watched as farmers will be hoping for better milk prices and a smooth privatization process, which is still in the balance. Sigei assured shareholders of improved efficiency by adopting new technologies and product diversification. The outgoing MD challenged the new leadership to strive to address issues of milk hawking, which have affected milk prices.
We expect you to perform in an exemplary manner, as we believe you are equal to the task. As you take this high office, you'll be expected to guide the privatization process when it is restarted again.
We have streamlined the way we do our operations by introducing a very effective ICT system, which has made reporting in all the areas of our operations, particularly finance, very efficient and effective.
We will endeavor to ensure that these support programs like the agri-loan services, AI services, breeding programs are top in our agenda, that we really give the necessary input to the farmers.
Farmers might have to wait a little bit longer before privatization of the country's second largest milk processor, the new cooperative creameries, takes shape. Well, the chairman of the board of directors, Matu Wamai, confirmed that the company is still a government corporation, and only until they get a nod to start the privatization process, that is when they will kickstart the process. KTN's Abigail Agina has more.
The manner in which the privatization of the new KCC will be done still remains unclear, even as the Milk Processors Board of Directors remained tight-lipped over the matter. The chairman of the board, Matu Wamai, has since revealed that there were pending issues to be cleared before the privatization can start.
Government decided to stop privatization for the time being. We have not been authorized to restart again, but we hope that soon we'll be able to do so.
The Privatization Commission has been working on the sale of the new KCC in a bid to grow the revenues and restore the business back to farmers. The privatization is expected to see the farm convert its current shareholding and allow more farmers to have a majority stake in the company.
The inability to extend the process to allow injection of much-needed capital didn't take place when I was here. And of course, that puts the company in a stressed situation, given that other people in the competition are awash with equity capital.
The government has proposed to offer farmers a 42% stake, employees 4%, while 42% is to be floated at the Nairobi Securities Exchange.
Farmers will have to have at least 85% of the company, and 10% government and 5% the workers of the company. The consultants wanted to give different figures which were much lower in terms of the ownership by the farmers.
The government is, however, interested in retaining a 20% stake. The distribution of shares has remained contentious, with farmers demanding for a controlling stake. Privatization of the farm has remained a challenge, with farmers not agreeing with the allocation of shares. The milk producers want to hold at least 80% stake in the company.
According to that report of the inquiry, it was stated that Privatization Commission work will be taken over by the Cooperation Investment Corporation, which will be formed. I don't think it has been formed yet. And when that is formed and then it starts work, maybe that's when this program will start. So we'll have to wait for the government to give us go-ahead. We are still 100% government as of now.
For now, farmers can only but wait until an independent audit of the farm's assets are audited to ascertain the true worth of the company. New KCC is currently among the top leading milk processors in the country. Competition in the dairy sector has continued to intensify over time, with more players angling to have a slice of the fast-growing market. Abiagina, KTN Business.
Before we take on sports, let's bring your attention to a very interesting story that warrants your attention. While it is a season for Thanksgiving and togetherness for many families, some families have recorded missing relatives and are ending the year not knowing where their loved ones are. The Yebeis and Otenos are such families whose New Year wish is to find their loved ones. Sharon Momanyi reports.
At the Yebei homestead in Kaptebe village in Tarbo, the family is gathered. But unlike many other families who in this holiday period have gathered in merry, theirs is one of grief. The family has lost one of their own. 34-year-old Meshak Yebei, who went missing on Sunday the 28th of December while taking his child to hospital.
Fika hospitali, ndio sasa mtoto akaanza kutapika. Ndio sasa that time akaniambia wacha aenda atafute maji.
Meshak had left his phone with his wife, and there has been no way of tracing him. The children innocently suckle on candy, seemingly oblivious of the bitter tale of their missing father. Grief and worry is written all over the faces of the Meshak Yebei's family. 2 days later, and he's still nowhere to be seen. Just where could he be?
Ripoti jana wakasema simkae for 4 days, lakini leo tulichukua hatua ya kwenda Eldoret. Wameripoti saa ngine inasutua hata mimi bana kula kitu labda chai peke yake.
Yebei's family is not the only one ending the year on a worrisome note. In mid-October, 30-year-old Bob Harrison Owich left Kisumu for Eldoret. He was set to appear in court for a matter the complainant said the two had ironed out. He called his wife upon arrival.
Tukaongea na yeye on Thursday saa 4, akaniambia amefika kotini.
But that was the last time they spoke. The court magistrate gave the complainant and Harrison another court date. But Bob never made it home. His phone was off. 2 months later, and the Otieno family has run a long, frantic search for Bob to no success. Sharon Momanyi, KTN.
Welcome back. Time for sports. After a successful 2014 Kenya Premier League campaign, today roles reversed as KPL referees took to the pitch to play a friendly match against their Abadere's counterparts at Hope Centre grounds in Kawangware. The match served as a return leg after the Nairobi side triumphed away in Thika earlier on. The match, which was also in honour of the veteran referee Peter Kireni, who retired at the end of the season aged 45. Kireni was listed on the FIFA roll in 2005 and has officiated a number of high-profile matches on the continent. The referees, led by Richard Obare, believe the standards of officiating have improved in the country compared to yesteryears. The umpires are now confident that Kenya is capable of producing top referees in the continent, and especially after their counterparts were listed to be on duty at the Africa Cup of Nations early next year in Equatorial Guinea.
Is at peace, everybody will benefit, the country will benefit, and that has played a very big role of developing our referees.
Mimi nimechezesha Premier League for 15 years, so I know where we started up to Mali tuko sasa, tuko very high, and you can see how we are getting appointments mechi za nje. That can show you that CAF wameona ya kuwa Kenya at least wamefika somewhere.
Ivory Coast coach Hervé Renard has announced his 23-man squad that will travel to the 2015 Africa Cup of Nations finals in Equatorial Guinea. Cote d'Ivoire will be without their international retired stalwart in Chelsea striker Didier Drogba as they look to break through a group featuring Guinea, Mali and Cameroon, while Moses Wahisi has these details.
After sealing qualification for the African Nation Cup finals with the tip goalless draw in Abidjan,
on its last quarter-final matches against Cameroon, Ivory Coast head coach named a strong 23-man squad that he expects to leave the continent's most converted soccer trophy to be staged in Equatorial Guinea. Missing in action will be Chelsea's striker and long-serving skipper Didier Drogba, who announced his retirement from international football in August, together with Didier Zakora, after the two made it clear they had no intention to avert their decision, despite speculations and calls from fans. The Ivorians will see Premier League stars Yaya Toure, Kolo Toure, Cheick Tiote and Wilfred Bony feature for them in the January's tournament. Reigning African Footballer of the Year and Manchester City midfielder Yaya Toure will captain the side. Kolo Toure will be on his last international assignment for his country, as the 33-year-old has announced that he will retire from international football after AFCON. Other key players for the Elephants will be Solomon Kalou, who trades for Hertha Berlin, together with AS Roma striker Gervinho. Ivory Coast are in Group D alongside Cameroon, Mali and Guinea, in a tournament set to kick off in the 17th of January 2015. The Ivorians have won the tournament once back in 1992, and despite boasting of some of the continent's finest players, they have fallen short in the recent years. Moses Wahisi, KTN Sports.
We're about to wind up KTN Prime this 30th of December 2014, but before then, let's review our big question tonight. And we had asked you, do you support CORD in the quest for the reversal of the new security laws? That was our big question tonight, and 52% say yes, and 48% say no. 52 yes and 48 no. Let me sample one or two messages here. No, I do not support CORD. The matter is in court, and CORD taking the matter to Senate before the ruling is being dishonest. Having gone to court, let them wait for the court process to be exhausted. That's Peter G. Gadhanga. But a supporter here says, I support CORD 100%. Laws are made to govern willing people who agree fully with the laws in the first place. Once there's division of opinion of this magnitude, a nation has to rethink and reconcile its people first before shoving laws down their throats by force. That's Ben Kokonya from Busia, Kenya. Let me sample also another person who says, no, I don't. It is not about CORD but national interest, which surpasses that of them gaining political mileage. Abdul Razak Gulamwini in Kisumu. A final yes here. The ruthlessness and the rush in passing those laws amid limited public participation is very suspect. That's Ken from South Sea. Thank you very much for all your comments that we've been getting throughout the bulletin. And of course, for watching KTN Prime. My name is Betty Callo. See you again tomorrow. God bless.